Now we're going to Venezuela to save the people there. Going out there, talking about people down there don't have food. And there's been some people in the news going down there and visiting to see what's really going on. They go in the grocery stores and all the shops, and they find out that the places are full of food. All kinds of food down there. And they pretended like they ain't got no food. And you know what they're doing? The big corporations who are aligned with the American interests and corporate interests are hiding food. Or else they're raising the price so high that nobody can afford it. And as soon as the government raises the amount of money people get, the corporations are rising the amount that it costs, so they still can't afford it. Just so they can bullshit us and tell us that the Venezuelan people are in need of help and starving to death and running all over the place trying to go to Colombia and sell their hair in order to get enough money for food, when the truth is that these people are screwing everybody out of all of the food because they have a plot to try to take over the country. And you know what they want? Oil. Oil. We don't even need oil. They want oil. And we got all these people on TV. Make me sick sometimes standing up there and lying to us. Everybody on every news program is carrying out that same old lie. Talking about the elected president. It's not the real president. We're supposed to be so stupid we can believe that this old retarded guy standing up there who went to Georgetown University, who'd been kissing the IMF's butt all these years, is supposed to be telling the truth. Goes up there and announces he's president, and we're supposed to believe that. Now, you just imagine somebody in the United States went down there at some protest and stood up behind a podium and said, "I'm the president of the United States." And some other country called in and said, "Well, we recognize him and not the president you elected. So we're going to steal all the money from your country and hold it and give it to that fake person, the fake person who declared himself president." We'd be pissed off. And we'd be smart to be pissed off. Be smart to be pissed off. He got me so upset I can't even talk. You see? Well, that's what's happening down in Venezuela. Venezuela, they have plenty of money. They have plenty of resources. But a lot of the banks in this world are basically stealing their money and holding up their money. They have all these sit-go gas stations in the United States. They're basically just stealing money from them. Not sending them the money they need. Creating all of this pain and suffering and torture so they can get in there, divide up the oil revenues, and have their own country. And that's the exact same thing they tried to do back in 2001, and it failed. Then when Chavez is going, they tried to do it again. They said one of the problems with Chavez and those communists were that they nationalized the oil supply and the oil companies. Well, the truth is that those companies were nationalized before Chavez got in there. It was done years ago, so that the people of Venezuela could share in some of the money that was coming in from all that oil that they were selling, instead of one or two international corporations that were based in the United States. Does that sound familiar to you? Because if you look around this country and you look around at all these oil refineries and all that oil going out and all this fracking where they're poisoning land and water, you'll find that none of the people whose land is getting destroyed and poisoned are benefiting 1 cent. All of our money is being passed up to the top. $156 billion. $156 billion was made last year in this country. A big profit. That is $156 billion in profit from more production. And that all went to 1% of the people. You don't have to be communist. You don't have to be socialist. You don't have to be a Democrat or Republican or Catholic or Protestant or Muslim or Jew to realize that something is wrong with that. And something's wrong when the news media is owned by 6 corporations. 98% of the print media, TV media, and radio media. And the 6th corporation is made up of a board from the other 5. It's time for us to wake up, folks. We're always arguing and we're always screaming about things that hurt us personally. Yes, I agree with that. But we can do that at home. There's a point when we all need to come together. Those people who are super poor and the ones who are super rich and forced into behaving like vampires because of what the other ones will do to them if they don't. It's time for us to all come together and to create this government of the people, by the people, and for the people once again, you see. Because most of those wars and most of that violence, most of the things happening in the countries that are being affected have nothing whatsoever to do with us. We are being driven into all these wars and all this hatred through manipulation of intelligence agencies and the news media and a few ultra-rich people. And then once it gets started, we're left to fight for them in order to survive for ourselves. Our soldiers are being sent to die on battlefields or to kill innocent people who are just trying to protect their land and their homes. And we are left with the dilemma of honoring our fighting women and men when we're honoring people who unknowingly are the thieves and the robbers and the oppressors of the world. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to keep watching the old fake news here that we see on TV all the time, where we're talking about Russians stealing the election and all that nonsense, where we talk about WikiLeaks working with Russia to steal the election? Well, guess what? If Russia did not steal the election, then they weren't working with WikiLeaks to steal the election. The problem with WikiLeaks was because it told the truth. It told us about all those things that were being done by those people who were hidden, getting us into trouble, and then letting us have to fight it out like pawns so that they could reap the fruit of our death and our blood and the blood of those people who they call the enemies. But guess what? Those people aren't the enemies. I've never seen those people. I've never known those people, and they've never done a thing to me. And even the worst ones, I wouldn't go so far to say the worst ones, but some of them that we perceive as being really bad are doing it in order to drive the imperialists out of their country. Yes, there are some evil, stupid fools who have their own agenda, which is the same agenda as the ones who are going in the back door from our country and starting up trouble. There are just certain people, you see, who cannot live with other people. Antisocial people. Psychopathic people. And we have to really be on guard against those people, because they come in all shapes and all sizes, all races and genders and sexual orientations, and their sickness is sometimes hidden in a Trojan horse persona. That's what a lot of people in alternative media are talking about now. Trojan horses. When you have identity politics, you can slip a Trojan horse into a group so easily because that person looks like the people in the group, sounds like the people in the group, acts like the people in the group, but inside, that's where you find the damage. Doesn't matter if you are a communist or a capitalist, if you're a Jew or Gentile, if you're Buddhist or Islamic, if you're pagan or Christian, that doesn't matter. What matters is the condition of your heart. Are you a person who wants to live in partnership and love and share the fruits of all your work? Or are you one of those people who want to rule over other people because you think that you are better than they are? That's the question that we all need to be working on and all trying to understand. What do we want to do? Do we want to rise up and start some craziness and violence in order to overturn a system and then just replace it with a system that's worse because we would feel that we were justified by doing whatever we needed to do in order to uphold that system? Or do we want to create something? Do we want to create something new? Do we want to create something beautiful? Do we want to create something the world has never seen? Do we want to create that thing that the founding fathers of this nation envisioned, but weren't able to pull off because of the dominators who were among them and the dominators that were within them? Those who left the door open for generations after them to be able to recreate this dream and to create a world of love and beauty and peace. That's what we need to be doing. Let's stop listening to these stupid unused medias that just try to say emotional things all the time to get us all hyped up and wrapped up, telling us we need to build a damn wall along the border for 3,000 something miles to keep some Mexicans out. That's the stupidest crap I ever heard in my life. Who cares if Mexicans come in here and do that dirty work like picking fruit and things like that for $2 an hour? What we should be trying to do is get them a living wage if they make it in here, not trying to stop them from coming in so that fruit's rotting on the vine. This world backwards, you know? The leadership is backwards. We need real leadership. We don't need slogans. We don't need rock stars. We don't need to support people just because they're charismatic and they can walk back and forth and they have nice suits or nice dresses, very expensive stuff, or they dress down on purpose. So they try to look like blue-collar workers or working-class people by taking off their jackets and rolling up their sleeves. That's all BS. And as soon as they do that, as soon as they do what is necessary for them to win through psychological manipulation, you know that they're part of the problem. And that's the worst part, isn't it? That the ones that we like less are probably the ones who would be better for us. Those who speak the truth, not the truth of racism, like our president that we have now and many of the staff members and the senators from places like Oklahoma and Kentucky and all of those places who do not represent the people at all, but gerrymandered systems. No, I mean the real truth. The truth that we all share in one thing, our vulnerability on this earth. Not our strength, but what we share in is our weakness as human beings, because at any moment we could die from gunshots. We could die from horrible weather conditions. We could die from diseases and illnesses. We all are vulnerable to the life and death issues and the pain and suffering that is common to the human being. And that is what unites us, and that is what we should be getting rid of. Creating a society that lessens our chance to be hurt, killed, oppressed, and depressed. That is what we should be working against. And I think there are a group of people who are working against that. I'm not sure if it's the majority or not, but I feel like it is the majority, you see, because out of the ashes of the lies, out of the ashes of the false narratives, the fake memes, the psychological manipulation, the understanding that most of our systems have been more deceived than we and have caused destruction all over the world, and now global warming out of that, out of the ashes, the phoenix is rising. And we, those who resist the temptation to be haters and warmongers, manipulators, full of pride and arrogance, we rise and bring forth light, joy, hope, and love from our wings. The phoenix is rising. Join us in our endeavor as we rise to combat the lies, the falsity, the twisting of the narrative that we always receive from the big glossy companies and all of the glossy ads and all of those things. Join us in our quest to plant the seeds, to bring about a new, beautiful humanity. If you like what you're hearing, go visit our website at www.nextstepcoaching.mysite.com. That is www.nextstepcoaching.mysite.com. And you can hit the button that says Ohm's Radio Show. There you can find a donation button where you can become a patron. You can help us get better equipment, do a better show, have interesting guests. And the one thing that we will guarantee completely is that we will speak the truth as we know it and as we have researched it or it has been researched. The truth and only the truth, because you deserve to be able to make your own decisions and move in whatever direction you like as a well-informed individual. Visit our Blog Talk Radio station at blogtalkradio.com/practical-spirituality and listen to some of our many other radio shows. That's radio shows. It's good to be with you today. Thank you for visiting this broadcast. Thank you for visiting our YouTube channel. We hope to be with you again soon. The phoenix is rising, my friend.